New Harmony, Indiana sits quietly along the Wabash River in the southern part of the state. It's the kind of town that you could almost miss if you weren't looking for it. But once you step into it, you feel something different, like you've been there before, maybe years ago. New Harmony has been many things over the years, but at its heart, it's always been a town shaped by hope. It's a town where people came not just to live, but to build a better way of living. Now, there were two groups that made an attempt to create a perfect society here. The first group to try it were the Harmonists. They were German separatists who believed that devotion, discipline, and shared purpose could create a little heaven on earth. So in 1814, they built a community that still feels very ordered and intentional today. But it didn't last. In 1825, a very different dream took root here. Robert Owen gathered educators, scientists, and reformers to build a society based on equality and learning. And their experiment didn't last long either, but the ideas that they planted reached far beyond the borders of this small town. So two communities, two visions, both of them were earnest, they were both hopeful, and both trying in their own way to build harmony. As you walk through New Harmony today, you can still see the traces of those dreams. The brick Harmonist houses, the granary, the old community buildings, they stand as quiet witnesses to what people once believed was possible. These structures aren't just historical artifacts, they're reminders that harmony is not an abstract idea. It's something that people have tried to build with their own hands. But there's another aspect of New Harmony I want to bring to your attention. And that's right on the edge of town. You can't miss it, this amazing white building. It's bright and modern, kind of built of white planes and sharp lines. Designed by Richard Meyer, it feels almost like some kind of a gateway to the past. And inside, there's so much glass that light just pours in from every direction, and the exhibits guide you through the layers of New Harmony's past. And from this place, the Athenaeum, you can get to one of the most unusual sacred spaces, in my opinion, in America, and that's the Roofless Church. Now, I'm not saying ruthless, R-U-T-H-L-E-S-S. I'm saying Roofless Church, R-O-O-F-L-E-S-S. This is a good shot of the Athenaeum and the church, left and right there. And now we're down on ground level and entering the church from the eastern gates. And isn't that a beautiful gate? People come from all around just to get a picture of the gate, believe it or not. The walls themselves are 12 feet high and constructed of brick, and they're very solid. And in fact, I read somewhere that they're much more solid than a wall would be if it had a building above it. So I'm not sure architecturally how that works or how the engineering works out, but apparently they had to build it much stronger so that it would withstand movement and weather and so forth. And this part of the country is not too far from a major fault line. We won't get into that right now, but it is something to consider. Now, this structure right here, it looks like a cloth draped over a small tree or something on a large scale. But that's not it at all. It is draped, sort of, over something, but the something happens to be a very interesting sculpture of the Holy Spirit descending like a dove on Jesus at his baptism. It's a stylized vision of that, but beautiful and very unique. And this building protects it, and it also is kind of a meeting point sometimes when the special events take place here in the church. They use this as a meeting place. And there are benches there for people to sit and just pray and study or whatever they would like to do. Now, if you come out of that and turn left, you go directly into what's called Solomon's Porch. And Solomon's Porch looks out over this field, and past those trees out there is the Wabash River. So what you're looking at really is a floodplain. It extends for several miles in each direction, up and down that river. And it does flood in the spring and can get very high, but I've never seen it all the way up into the church. So I think they did a good job of selecting the correct elevation for the church for that purpose. Philip Johnson, the architect, could have built a traditional sanctuary here. He could have given New Harmony another steeple or another roof line or another set of beams and rafters. But that's not what he did. He left it open, as if to say that sometimes the most holy thing we do is stop trying to contain what was never meant to be contained. And being there and in that place reminds me of all the places in my own life where I've built ceilings, places where I've closed things off, whether it was fear or habit or just the comfort of something familiar. And I wonder, what would it look like to let God lift the roof off of me, to let Him open a space that I've been trying to keep safe and small? Listen, this church doesn't give you any shelter. It gives you room. You've got room to breathe. You've got room to sit and listen, room to let the sky remind you that God is way bigger than you, and He's way bigger than the walls that we build. Well, New Harmony has always been a place where people tried to build a better world. And maybe that's why this open-air sanctuary feels like the right ending to this story. After all the plans and the experiments and the hopes and the designs and all the architecture, this place reminds us that harmony is not something that we can force into shape. It's something that we can make space for, but it's not something that we can do on our own. And sometimes the most faithful thing we can do in our lives, and in this case, in a church, is to leave the roof off